All right, hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining today. We're going to get started soon here.
Hi there. Something real quick.
Oh, we are live, but Guy, do you have anything?
How long? Okay, thank you.
Also, for anyone who's on the call right now, if you can let me know if you can hear me okay. If you could just use the chat function. Oh, not hearing me. Okay.
Yeah, I need to, can I talk to you later? I'm doing a conference here. Thanks. Bye.
Hi everyone. We're just waiting a few more minutes to get started. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started now. Thank you everyone for joining us. This will be our first webinar of 2020. All right, and okay. So today's presenters are myself, Kylie Morgan. I'm with Plug in America, and I am the program coordinator who manages National Drive Electric Week and Drive Electric Earth Day on the Plug in America side. Guys, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure. Thank you, Carly. So I'm Guy Hall with the Electric Auto Association on the national board, as well as in the chapter around Sacramento for electric vehicles. And I got to start off by just saying that I really appreciate everybody being on board and interested in providing some EV events coming up forward. I just read this morning, Kylie, that one of the big, I guess, reporters of the auto world yesterday said that they expect that EV sales by the end of the decade are going to be less than 10%. Now, together, we just cannot let that happen. I think we've got a lot of good, strong tailwinds that will help us, a lot of exciting changes coming in. But what people are doing here and what we're doing together is so important to change the community, to our communities to be electrified. So thank you again for joining us, and it'll be a great Earth Month or Earth Day. So back to you, Kylie.
Awesome, thank you so much. And just a note, if anyone has any questions during the webinar, you can go ahead and add those to the question panel. On the right-hand side, you should see a control panel. And at the end of the webinar, both Guy and I will be available to answer any questions that are submitted. Okay, so what is Drive Electric Earth Day? Drive Electric Earth Day is a month-long series of events during April to promote electric vehicles. We have events both throughout the United States and internationally. Plug-in America, Sierra Club, and the Electric Auto Association collaborate to organize this event and provide support to all of our national events within the U.S. Each event is organized individually by a variety of individuals and organizations, and anyone in the U.S. or outside the U.S. can offer to organize an event promoting and showcasing electric vehicles, and they can register it on the website to receive the online event page. Each event should focus on showcasing as many electric vehicle models as possible. Also, a quick shout out to our national sponsor, Flow, who is our exclusive national charging sponsor. So last year was actually the first year of Drive Electric Earth Day, and it went really well. We had 187 events in 5 countries, 44 U.S. states, with more than 100,000 attendees. And then we also saw more than 2,000 combined test drives and rides. So this year, we're hoping to make it even bigger and better. And we're, of course, here to help you with any questions you might have.
Great. Well, Earth Day events are very are slightly different than events that we might do other times of the year, because we have the value of the Earth Day events going on in parallel with what we're trying to achieve. So what Earth Day events mean to us as EV advocates is that they've already got an audience there, they have an event there, they handle much of the effort and the workload and the costs. So this is a great thing, a great activity for us to leverage in getting the word out about electrifying transportation. And we bring value to them. Deed excites and energizes their events with the EV related activity, which is clearly a sustainable type of practice that most Earth Day events are excited about. And it's just overall increases the interest in the event. So next slide. So who are these possible partners? Well, if you're having trouble finding an Earth Day event in your area, you can search them in a website, earthday.org, which collects a lot of the locales for Earth Day events, or use Google search. And the Eventbrite tool often is a location where a lot of organizations register their events. So use those. And they can be all kinds of different organizations. You know, we said museums, zoos, the library, to government organizations, park and recreation districts. And these organizations can help expand what we're trying to do in terms of communicating to our community and providing the venue. Local businesses that, excuse me, that relate to electric vehicles, scooters, bike shops, even markets like Whole Foods, we've seen lumber and home improvement stores, also often very interested in participating in these events to essentially show their interest in green activities. Don't forget schools will often hold their own Earth Day events, and you can join in those. And as Kylie mentioned earlier, you can actually do several of these events during the month. So, but look at these partners, not just for the one-time activity, but someone you might work with throughout the year to do other events, to do other engagements together. So use this as your if it's the first time working with a partner, use this event as something to help build a relationship. Next.
Okay, so I'll take this slide. So some frequently asked questions, who can sponsor your event? So even though Flow is the national charging sponsor, any local event can be sponsored by any automaker, charging company, or other organization. Local sponsors can be promoted on your event's marketing materials. And we do ask that Flow be recognized as a national sponsor on all marketing materials. Next, what vehicles should I showcase at my event? So Drive Electric Earth Day focuses solely on electric vehicles with a plug. Emphasis should be given to freeway-capable vehicles, although many events do include e-bikes, e-scooters, and other electric transportation. For example, some people bring EV conversions, which are really fun. Next, when is Drive Electric Earth Day? So it's the whole month of April. Any electric vehicle event that is open to the public and featuring a variety of electric vehicles, and it's happening during April, can register on the website and receive the online event page and our support. So you can also do more than one Earth Day event. Some teams, like Guy Hall, does many events every year. If you are planning to do multiple events, you can email support and let us know ahead of time. So that way we'll give you permission to register multiple at one time instead of doing them one at a time.
Hey, Kylie, can I add something to that? When you mentioned the conversions, and I thought that was brilliant. If you have the opportunity to find someone that's done an EV conversion to take a gas car and convert it to electric, boy, they're terrific items to include in the event, because they can stand there and describe exactly the different parts and point. People can look at and see the different parts of an electric car, and that's so hard to do on the typical what we call OEM cars that you buy from any of the dealers. But that your mention of the EV conversions is just spot on.
Awesome, thank you. And for the audience, for people who may not know, a conversion is a gas vehicle that has been converted into an electric vehicle by a personal owner or a small business that does that for a living. Okay, go ahead, Guy.
All right. So what type of activities might you do at an Earth Day event? How would you add value to their event and get that communication across? One, just this picture on the right is one of our members let us use their car as a drawing board for kids. They used the standard pens they would use on a whiteboard, the dry erase pens, and so they all came off afterwards. But it was a great way to draw families in to let the kids be doing something interesting for the kids and be able to engage the parents. It's always a challenge if the parents are being tugged on by the kid because they're getting bored. So look for events that actually excite, or activities that excite the kids as well, to keep the parents engaged. Of course, doing a display of EVs in a showcase format is good. Some of the towns we've seen in locations, they actually want to do a parade through the town. And we have Auburn up in California is looking at doing exactly that. If there are dealerships that are supportive in the area that can provide test drives, great to have them incorporated as part of the event. We discourage actually doing test drives of EVs by owners that are, your volunteers. There's a liability issue if something were to happen. You really want to make sure there's a good insurance coverage. Dealers carry that as a standard part of their business. So we encourage the dealerships to get involved in that way. If there's some sort of ribbon cutting, there's a large number of new charging stations that have been deployed across the country. Leverage that, and even if it still was in use a month before, you can still make a public ribbon cutting for it and celebration around that. And you can use that to also show people how to charge, how easy it is to charge your electric car. Now, exhibitors that might come to your event as well, they can not just exhibit and talk about their product, but they can really add true value to what you're trying to communicate and show. Your utility can talk about power rates, the special activities or programs that they have for EVs. Electricians that are used to installing EV charging stations in homes can help share the idea of what that means to individual homeowners. Local dealerships, of course, can be promoting. We tend to, personally, I like to keep the dealership, any dealership displays of EVs separate from the owners, because I really think it's important that the owners can be there with an authentic conversation, talking about their own personal, their family experience driving electric cars, and that it's an honest conversation that often attendees may not get the same feeling from talking to a dealership, although not to undervalue the value of dealerships. So they can certainly bring value, but don't mix those things up if you can do it. Governments, organizations often have missions to get the word out and to try to drive change, so they can provide help as well. Next page, Kylie. Whatever you do at an event, remember you've got cars and people, and sometimes those don't mix really well. So safety first, safety second, safety third. Always consider and look at your event through the lens of safety. You have to consider how it's going to affect your the attendees. What you want to make sure your volunteers not put at risk. So really look at that continually through in advance of the event and throughout the event. Keep in mind safety. If you've got written material, certainly keep that near the AVs so that someone that's describing with a particular AV and they want to provide some material backup, they don't have to walk across the event to get the material bring back. In fact, often event hosts will have tabling in one area and want the cars in a different area. Resist that as much as you can for a table for your own event. Keep that table near the EV showcase so that you can have that as part of your activities. We found when they get separated across, one or the other gets missed and you don't get the leverage that you really value. Now, often you'll find people having to wait around for, maybe they're waiting for a gathering, waiting for a test drive event or you do a presentation, but you have this group of people that are sitting waiting. Think of that group as being an asset, about something that you can engage and utilize to get your message across. So the best way to do it, one of the ways to do that is if you have an experienced, educated EV expert in your team, get them to engage that group that's waiting by asking questions. Do you know about how much it costs for an EV? Have to charge EVs, or how much? How often do you have to? What's the maintenance like? But just to engage this group of people that are sitting waiting for something, and you'll keep them entertained, and you'll be able to get your message across and more effectively. Next slide, Kylie. And is this one mine, Kylie, or yours?
So this is you guys.
Okay, thank you. So the important is and trying to drum up volunteers for your event, and volunteers are critical to make an event exciting and successful. As energized as you might be, you need their help in really scaling up and making this a really engaging event. So you want to promote the event, not just to the community to come attend the event, but also why should your volunteers come to the event? Why should they help? They're taking time away from their family and their work and their personal activities. So you want to get the message to them why this event is worth coming to. And it might be that this event has some aspect that'll make it particularly fun, maybe something for the family, and maybe it's just the whole idea of changing the world. And you need their help to achieve that. Now, Kylie will talk shortly about some tools that DEED provides to communicate to not just potential attendees, but communicate to your volunteers. One important aspect is to have a conference call with volunteers, especially the first time volunteers, to talk about what the event and what's expected. And you would also want to probably include a little bit about behaviors. That it's not, if you're showing your car, it's not just your car is the best car out there in the market, but that there's a variety of cars that fit different people's needs, things like that. But set the basic ground rules for how they engage with the community. And of course, you need to get an email out to them that's with all the logistics, map, etc. Arrival time is important, and they will sometimes ask, "I can't make it at the time you need me to be there, or I need to depart early." So you're gonna have to decide, and in partnership with the event hosts, is can people arrive late? Can they depart early? And again, you need to think about this through the lens of safety as well. You don't want to have cars driving through a crowd. But you have to address that and be able to let people know if they can't make it on time, that as much as you regret that you won't be able to have them with their car, but maybe they could use them as a person in very different means, approaches. Now, give them a heads up on what things they ought to bring, whether it's a chair, if it's gonna be a long event, it's a chair for them to be able to relax and sit in. If there's gonna be a lot of sun on a hot day, sunscreen or a hat and such. That let them, remind them on things that they ought to bring. And the whole concept of training and supporting these volunteers is so important. You want them to have a great experience. You want them to take their enthusiasm, even that caused them to sign up for the event. You want to take it and expand that, build the excitement around that. So recognize that the supporting of your volunteers is just so important, and you want to make sure they're excited, and that at the same time you don't want to burn them out. Okay, next slide.
Okay, so I'll take over right here, guys. Thank you so much. Okay, so it's really important that you provide your volunteers with specific tasks. On the day of the event, as an event organizer, you're going to be really busy managing the whole event. And it's going to be difficult to manage a group of volunteers. So also, volunteers, they want to know and have a task. They want to know what to do during the day. So this is a really valuable exercise. So some potential tasks might be having them help with setup and teardown. If you do that, just note that they won't have anything to do during the event. So you'll have to assign them a different role or let them know they can just enjoy the event. You might have them take photos and videos of the event. A note here is don't be afraid to ask attendees to pose and smile for a picture. Great pictures really help market your event the next year if you plan to do another event. And they, can really help show your sponsors and exhibitors how much traffic there was and just what a great event it was. Another important data point is counting the number of test rides and drives. So you can assign someone to stand at the place where vehicles enter and exit, and just tally how many people are in each car as it leaves or enters. Next, it's really important to have someone that's walking around the event to monitor safety. They'll want to look out for anywhere where there's moving cars and pedestrians, and just make sure everything's going okay and everyone's aware of each other. We also have a safety page on the Drive Electric Earth Day resources page, and we really encourage you to check that out. So another great role is welcoming attendees and providing directions to various activities. This is important because you want your attendees to feel welcomed and to really feel confident about what to do with the event. So if you have someone there who welcomes them and says, here's what's going on, here's how you get to it, and here's who to talk to if you need help, that will really go a long way in making them feel comfortable and have a great time.
Kylie,
Next, really important.
Can I add a little personal comment to one of the points you made?
Yeah, definitely.
Your point about counting the number of test drives and activities there is really important to help you on the next event you might do, because you can give people some data. But also we found at an event is we like to count the number of conversations that we have with people through the day, and it's very difficult to ask volunteers at the end of the day, how many people did you talk to? But what we've done is to provide these little handheld counters that you see at often events or in front of stores like Costco and such, to count people coming in. Just give those up to people at the beginning of the event and ask them to click every time they talk to someone and gather them at the end of the day. So that really seems to help and give you some more data when talking to people about future events. Thanks, Carly.
Yeah, no, that's a great note. And also you just reminded me, it's important to count the number of test rides and drives, because you can show that to local dealers and that, for the next year, and show them, hey, this many people were interested in test driving last year. Like, this is why you should come to my event. So that's another way you can use that piece of information. And finally, of course, provide refreshments for your volunteers if you can. and make sure to thank them for their time, because they did give up a lot of their personal time to help you out. All right, so this slide is going to go over some tips for organizing your EV display. So, again, feature a variety of EVs, and this includes used EVs. It's really important to show vehicles of all price points, and also to show that there is a used car market for electric vehicles. Also, you want to have the hoods up and doors open. This really lets people know that this is a vehicle they can come, check out and approach. Also, though, be mindful that these are people's personal vehicles. So it may be useful to have a sign on the vehicle that just says, feel free to check me out, but please be careful. This is someone's, personal vehicle. Also, you want to make sure owners are near the vehicle to answer questions. You can see an example of this on the top photo. And this is really important because when people can talk to EV owners, you want it to be a comfortable, casual conversation where they can ask, all the questions they have. And, some people really know nothing about EVs. So hearing a personal driving experience can be really valuable. Also, it's good to position the EV display near heavy traffic. So you might position it where people enter or leave, or if there's maybe, where a lot of people gather for food trucks, there's food trucks around, maybe place it near the food trucks, because that's always a popular spot. As Guy mentioned before, it's really important to have the table with educational materials near your EVs. So, when people are looking at electric vehicles and talking to owners, that's when they're going to be interested in picking up those materials. And then finally, a few more tips about making the display welcoming is have badges or t-shirts that for the volunteers saying, ask me about driving electric. Again, that tells people that they're approachable. And then you can also have a sign encouraging people to check out the EVs and talk to owners. And consider placing snacks and refreshments nearby for a tailgate atmosphere. So I included the bottom photo here because this is a great example of how to set up an EV display. The fact that they place the cars in a circle, hoods up and doors open, really creates a space that attendees can tell right away, this is a space for me to walk around in and explore. They also have a table with the materials, and you can see that there's conversations going on with some EV owners. So this is a really great example. Okay, so Plug-in America, Electric Auto Association, and Sierra Club provide resources to all events. On the website, you can find templates for a press release, a tear sheet flyer, and other templates. You can also find downloadable logo files for the Drive Electric Earth Day logo, as well as the Plug-in America, Electric Auto, and Sierra Club logos. And then closer to the event, we will provide an order form on your online event page where you can order event kits that contain a vinyl banner and educational materials, as well as flyers from our sponsors. Closer to the event, we also provide press contacts to help you promote your event. And then on the resources page, you can find some tips about how to post to social media. So we include some sample posts, as well as some hashtags you can use. And then throughout the year, we do various webinars on event coordination and marketing. So this was one on the basics of organizing an event, but we'll be doing some more webinars on how to market your event and engage with public officials. And next, Plug-in America and Electric Auto Association both have an extensive EV owner network that we can reach out to. So if you're having trouble finding EV owners or volunteers, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can use the support email on driveelectricearthday.org, or you can use my email, which will be available on the last slide of this webinar. And as I mentioned before, the Drive Electric Earth Day website does feature some safety tips on the resources page. We highly recommend you check this out. And Guy, I'm going to give it to Guy. He's going to talk about some resources from the Electric Auto Association.
Great, thank you, Kylie. Yes, if your EV interest group is not already part of an Electric Auto Association chapter, if you go ahead and actually create a chapter and get the support of the national organization behind that, we will actually provide you with a feather flag or, to be able to show at your event. That is sort of a feather flag, if you flag such as the one on the right side of the picture, that can help draw the crowd and draw the interest to your event. Also, if you're an Electric Auto Association member, you can download the event coordinator's handbook. And that is something that is for members only in EAA, unfortunately. But if you go to our website and download that, please do. At the end of it, since our website right now is in some reconstruction, at the end of the last slide, I put an email address. You can contact me to request it by email until we get the over the next week or so, we get the our Electric Auto Association site back up and reconstructed. So Kylie, back to you.
Awesome, thank you so much. All right, so the next topic is insurance. So insurance is usually required by hosts and venues, and we do provide insurance to individual volunteers. For example, we can help people organizing an event on behalf of a Sierra Club chapter, Electric Auto Association chapter, or anyone who's unaffiliated with another organization. If you are organizing an event on behalf of a business or government entity, we do ask that you work with your own organization for that insurance. And another note is that insurance generally only covers incidents that occur in the event space, and you should ask for separate insurance from all vendors, exhibitors, and dealers. And Guy, anything you want to add from Electric Auto Association?
If you're an Electric Auto Association member, we have general event liability insurance that you can request. And again, as Kylie mentioned, this does not include the test drives, or even if they something happens with a specific car that's on the showcase, or fingers indoors, that kind of thing. That's always falls back to the owner of the vehicle. So again, especially the test drive events, we discourage participants from actually doing the test drives themselves and to rely on the dealers. So back to you, Kylie.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, so now I'm going to go over the Drive Electric Earth Day website. So this page shows the account page on the website, and you would navigate to this by clicking the account tab in the navigation bar. So if you're logged into the website, you'll be able to see any event, current and past events that you volunteered at or organized. You can also change your password and other account information like your name and email. If you were to scroll down, you can also find a link to the event agreement that provides guidelines on how your event should look, what type of vehicles should be featured. And then if you scroll down, you'll also find a link to email Drive Electric Earth Day support. Next, I'm going to go over the online event page. So this is automatically provided to any event that registers on the website. It doesn't matter if you're within the US or outside the US, you still get the same event page. So at the very top, you'll see that you can view the page as the public, volunteer, or city captain. When you view it as the public, you see it, as they would see it. So for example, they're not going to see this notes for city captain's box, and they won't see any of the admin features that you have as a city captain. Next, if you want to see what the page looks like to a volunteer, you can press that. One thing to note is that any volunteers can see the contact information of city captains and other volunteers. So it's really important that you screen volunteers and are comfortable with them before making them a volunteer. And then if you click city captain, you'll be able to see all of the administrative functions of the page. So next is this notes for city captains box. This box has really important reminders and updates. For example, when the order form is available to request your free printed materials and banner, it will appear here. You'll also see You'll also see information about upcoming webinars and other important alerts. One example is that on March 25th, if you don't have a date, time, location, and event description, a warning will appear on your page, telling attendees that this event may not happen. So you'll see a warning ahead of time in this box, and we'll also email you to let you know that you need to fill in that information. Next are the various buttons on the event page. So the RSVP button is specifically for people who want to attend, walk around, and enjoy the event. Participate is for people who want to actually display their EV and, or talk to people about driving electric. And the RSVP form and participate form are both the same, and you can see an example of that here on the right. It'll ask for their name, email, and if they drive a vehicle. And if they press participate, and if you set up your event page to where you allow people to share their experience or show their vehicle, there will be a checkbox here that people can indicate that they want to show their vehicle or talk to people about driving electric. All right, so the volunteer button is for people who are really going to help plan your event. So they're going to help you find the location, market the event. They might help with setup and tear down, as opposed to just showing up the day of the event. So when they click the volunteer button, they'll first be taken to the volunteer sign-up form and asked for their name and email. Then they're going to be asked for more information in order to create an account for them. And so we create an account for volunteers so that you can see your history of all the events that you've organized or volunteered at in the past when you log into the website. So on every event page, the number of registered attendees is public. Also, there's a table below that that has the list of vehicles that have registered to attend. So when people RSVP or press the button to participate and they indicate that they have an electric vehicle, that will show up here. However, you can adjust this table and specify which vehicles you want in the table. For example, if say 20 EV owners are going to attend your event, but you only have room for 10 vehicles in your display, you can edit and have only those 10 vehicles show up here. You can also remove this table entirely if you want. And I'll go over how to do that a bit later. Below that, you're going to see your volunteer contact information. As I mentioned before, volunteers and city captains can see the email and phone numbers that they provide. So make sure you screen any city captains and volunteers. Also note that you can make someone else a city captain along with you. And if you do that, they will have the exact same permissions as you. So again, be really careful about who you make a city captain. All right, so also on the online event page is the volunteer management section. When someone hits the volunteer button at the top of the page and submits their form and creates an account, their information they'll appear here. So you can assign them as a city captain, a volunteer, or reject their offer. If you don't have any room for more volunteers, please be sure to email them and thank them for offering before you reject them. Next, below that, there's a section on registered attendees. And again, all of this information you can only see if you're a city captain, and this is the administrative functions on the event page. So in the registered attendees section, you can actually email different groups of attendees. And what you would do is just click on the hyperlinked text here. And what happens when you do that is it pulls up a form that you then email, and so you actually can't see the attendee email addresses for privacy purposes. But when you email them, they'll be able to see the email associated with your account. And if they respond back to your email, you'll then be able to see their email address. So as you can see below, we have a table with registered dealers, and that's just because I created an example registration of a dealer. But if you also had people who registered as participants and regular attendees, they would show up here, each in their own table. And then if you download the list of attendees, it'll give you information like their t-shirt size, what vehicle they're bringing, and their name, but it still will not give you their email address unless they've opted in to share that with you. So the contacting attendees feature is a really important feature that's often overlooked. As I said before, privacy is really important. We don't automatically share the phone or email of any attendees with the event organizers. However, you can ask for it. So right when you create your event page, you should scroll down to this contacting attendees section. And what you want to do is type in the name of an EV group or mailing list that you want people to join. And then once you submit that, and you can only submit it once, it can't be changed. Once you submit that, then when people RSVP or participate, they can check mark a box that says that they want to, opt in to share their contact information with you and, join this group. And so if they opt in, you'll be able to see their email address in this table under registered attendees. But again, that's the only way to get their contact information unless they reply to one of your emails to them. So we really recommend doing this right when you create your event page because it can only be done right when they RSVP or participate. Okay, so the next feature is the update event section. Here you can update your event date, hours, location. Also, some interesting features on the right under event options here is you can change the name of that list of vehicles that I went over before. So you can change the title of it. You can also choose not to show it at all. And there's check boxes for sharing and showing. And if you check that box, it indicates that you're going to ask people if they want to share their experience. You don't have to check these boxes. If it's a workplace event and you already have professional staff showing EVs or a specific EV group handling that, and you don't want the general public to offer to share their experience or show their vehicle, you can just uncheck these boxes. You can also ask if attendees want to provide rides in their vehicles. Again, we recommend you do this through a dealer for liability reasons. And then we also have a box for t-shirts. So the Drive Electric Earth Day national organizers do not provide t-shirts, but if as part of your event you want to provide t-shirts to attendees, then you can ask for t-shirt sizes when people RSVP. All right. So finally, at the very bottom, there is a section where you can submit news stories about your event. And we really encourage you to do this because it just helps show us the reach of the program, and it helps us market the program to potential sponsors, which allows us to give you more support in years to come. All right, so we're at the end of the webinar. If you are interested in registering an event, or finding an event near you, you can visit driveelectricearthday.org. We also encourage you to check out Sierra Club, Electric Auto, and Plug-in America's websites for more resources about electric vehicles. On this slide, I just went over how to register your event because it is a bit of a process in order to make sure people who register the event are actual event organizers and not just attendees. But essentially, you would click the volunteer tab, give your name and email, and then it'll direct you to give your state and city. And once you do that, it'll show you a list of nearby events. So if you scroll down past the nearby events, you'll find the button to register to organize a new event. All right. So if you have any questions, feel free to email me about Drive Electric Earth Day or National Drive Electric Week. If you have any questions for Guy Hall, I can also forward those on to him. And you can also email the support email on driveelectricearthday.org. So I'm going to go to the question panel now and see what questions we have. Okay.
Kylie, while you're looking at those, I might add that, again, this is a Drive Electric Earth Day is an event put together by all three organizations, the Sierra Club, Plug-in America, and the Electric Auto Association. So it's these three organizations working together to really help put on and reach across the country and across multiple countries to create these Earth Day events.
Awesome, thank you so much. And okay, so let's see. Hold on one moment here. Okay. So we're getting a couple questions. Are the slides going to be available? Yes, the recording of this webinar and the slides will be available on the Drive Electric Earth Day resources page sometime next week. Oh, so we have a question here for you, Guy. Do you have to have an electric vehicle to be a member of Electric Auto Association? Oh, Guy?
I'm sorry.
Looks like Guy must, that's all right.
I had a great answer for you, though.
Awesome, go ahead.
No, you don't have to have an EV. You do need to be EV curious or have experience or interest or just interest in EVs. We welcome your membership, and this is actually EAA is a great organization to learn a lot about EVs as well.
Awesome, thank you. Okay. So another question, do you have any guidance for organizations and groups interested in offering assurance to cover offering their own test drives? That I would really recommend emailing me personally so I can get a bit more background on that question. But yeah, as I said before, generally, you know, we offer insurance to individuals, and if you're an organization, then we would ask that you provide your own insurance.
Yeah, I mean, if you're out driving someone around or having someone in your car, your own personal car insurance is on the hook for that, but again, not highly recommended.
Yes. Okay, and then another question, where can we access the templates and event kits? So templates can be found on the resources page. If you scroll down, there will be a text hyperlink to files, and you'll be able to find all the templates there. Event kits are only available if you have an online event page, and you'll be able to order it through a link on your event page. So those actually aren't available just yet, but those should become available in early March. And I didn't mention it before, but just a reminder that those event kits are completely free. We print and ship them to all event organizers who request them at no cost. Okay. So another is the assistance with insurance coverage for events, only for events taking place in California. The answer is no. We provide insurance for events throughout the United States. And Guy, I think it's the same for Electric Auto Association.
That's correct.
Okay, awesome. All right, the URL for the deed site is driveelectricearthday.org. If you want to view any of the online event pages, then you can actually, you can go to the map. So on the home page, there will be a map of events, and you can click on any dot and navigate to that event page. Also below the map, you can click on a list to see a list of this year's events or even last year's events. And also on every event page, there is a contact button to email the event organizers. And by doing that, you will share your email address with them, but you know, you'll only be able to see their email address if they respond back. But you can contact the events, this year's events or events from last year as well. Okay. So does the deed organization help facilitate connections to local dealers? That's a great question, and we can definitely help. So what Plugin America does on the back end is, what I'm doing right now is reaching out to our OEM contacts and letting them know about Drive Electric Earth Day and asking if they can email or get the word out to their local dealers about this event. So I'm hoping that at least by doing that, they're aware of events in their area or can find them on the website and will reach out to you. But if you specifically need help for your event, definitely email me and I can reach out to one of our contacts and see what we can do.
So Kylie, to add to that, I just wanted to set expectation a little bit in working with dealers. It can often be very frustrating working with a dealer even if they commit to come and they don't appear. That's not an infrequent occurrence. So keeping that communication up with the dealer, recognizing that, sometimes things change at the dealership. Sales reps comes in sick or they suddenly got short staffed and they couldn't come out, and they're not always good at communicating back to you. So easy to get frustrated, but it's kind of the nature of the game and of the interaction. So work as much as you can with dealers, but if things don't go the way you expected, always just have to take that in stride a bit. But they still are an important partner to work with.
Yeah, and also regarding dealers, we will have a webinar that goes into more detail about this, but I would recommend that you start reaching out now to dealerships and definitely do follow up. Don't stalk them, but you will want to follow up a few times because often they won't be able to confirm attendance until the week of the event or the week before, just because they never know, how much people they're going to get in the dealership that day. They don't know how busy it's going to be. And oftentimes it's really a single salesperson who's stepping up to show up at that event because they're taking time out of potentially making a sale at the dealership to go to this event. So if you can find a salesperson who really supports EVs, that'll be a really strong relationship to have.
And again, a little bit more on the dealerships. There are times that dealers just did not bring a car to an event that they had promised, and reached back and tried to figure out what happened. They sold the car. So that's a win for us. We're glad that they sold the cars. But that was they only had like 2 on the lot, and they sold both of them the day before. So it's kind of a dynamic relationship.
Yep, definitely. Okay, so a good question here. Is there a fee for agencies to host this event under the Drive Electric Earth Day name? There is no fee. You can register your event on driveelectricearthday.org completely for free. But we do ask that it's open to the public and it has a focus on plug-in electric vehicles, and it features a variety of EVs. So we don't want vehicles just from one manufacturer at the event. Okay. Oh, so a good question. What is an OEM contact? So OEM refers to original equipment manufacturer, and that's just what I use to refer to the automakers like Nissan, BMW, and Volkswagen. So Plug-in America, we work a lot with those manufacturers directly, and we always try to encourage them to to encourage their local dealers to attend Drive Electric Earth Day events. So a good question here. If hosting an event not really related to another event, what types of locations are successful? So some good locations are farmers markets. You can also do shopping malls that have a good amount of traffic. And also universities have actually been a good location in our experience because you have lots of students and teachers walking around, And a lot of the time they're open to stopping by at least for a few minutes to chat with people and, maybe even, check out the vehicles. Guy, I don't know if you have any other locations that you found really successful.
Those are very, very good ideas, and I think that covers most of them. The only one I might add would be parking lots in malls or mini malls out in front there. Sometimes those are reasonable venues, and in April it shouldn't be all that too terribly hot. So I have found putting them in front of grocery stores is kind of tough because people coming out of the grocery store with frozen foods are not interested in spending a lot of time chatting.
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, well, that's all the questions that we have so far. Again, if anyone has additional questions, please email me or email the support email on driveelectricearthday.org. We look forward to hopefully having you participate this year, and definitely reach out for us if you need any electric vehicle owners to help with your Earth Day event. Thank you so much for your time.